Okay, this is your last breath. It's an interesting mission in that it takes place mostly underwater. Here's the story. My contact in the area thinks I've lost my mind. After raiding a local hammer temple to grab some quick cash, I got out of town and headed to the seaside village until things cooled off enough for me to head back to the city. I was fairly familiar with the area. The year before, I had passed through while on a mission to the haunted island of Iron. My job then involved obtaining an artifact called the Iron Hammer for Edward of Blackbrook, a warden who respected independence like myself and was a bitter enemy of my old antagonist Ramirez. After having a few shots of ale in the local pub, I heard stories of lights and other strange activity seen underwater, not far offshore from the village. My instincts told me it was related to the increase of mechanist activity in the area. Discussing this information with my contact, my suspicions were confirmed when he told me about a recent incident. A friend of my contact, a smuggler by trade, claims he saw an iron boat surface near the area in question. Filled with terror, the crew jettisoned their cargo and fled. Hearing this and noting how the keepers were leaving glyphs in the area warning of trouble, I decided to have a look for myself, only to have my suspicions confirmed. From the raft, I can see some sort of facility below. Unfortunately, I couldn't take my bow with me, so I'll have to make do with the inventory I have. When I enter the water, I hope I won't be taking my last breath. Okay, let's play. Your last breath. The mechanist didn't create this aquatic base just for kicks. Find out what's going on. Show your pal how wrong he is to doubt a master thief. Steal 1,000 in loot. All this effort will be wasted if you end up as fish food. Get back to the surface. Okay.
Strange. I wonder what kind of work the mechanists do here.
Okay, so we've rafted from the mainland out to above this underwater base. Something interesting to note, there's a black texture here instead of a night sky. John D. in a note in the README claims that it was causing visual glitches in the dark engine, making stars appear on the floor. Not sure what that's about. There's a light in the distance, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Let's go to this outpost guard tower thing. Entry 42. Another quiet night here in Outpost 2. Unlike the others, I don't really mind spending time here when it's my shift. It's rather peaceful out here, and jotting down ocean data readings from the various gauges helps pass the time. Not to mention the fact that the view from the portals is excellent during the day. There's such beauty in the deep for those who take the time to look. Entry 43. I knew things were going too well. Now I'm beginning to feel uneasy. Serena popped in here an hour ago with that devilish smile on her face that she has when she's onto something. When I asked what was going on, she said she had snuck off patrol to do a quick reconnaissance of the outlying areas. She's obviously going to see if that ship that dumped its cargo had thrown away anything valuable. She asked me to keep quiet about it, to which I reluctantly agreed, although I told her that friend Arbez had checked out the area earlier and found nothing. Serena just laughed and said, "We'll see what is really out there," and then she left. She's been gone for a few hours. Probably snuck back to the facility. I hope Priest Hera doesn't find out about this. I know her temperament all too well.
Loyalty is the fuel that burns away the rising jungle that lies beyond our
Now let's go check out that light. And it turns out the light was from the helmet of Serena. Just a guess, but perhaps the helmet malfunctioned. She has this note here that says, "A quick note, I found the treasure they've been hiding. Now if I can just sneak back." And perhaps that's where her helmet failed. Now, gotta be careful here, 'cause there's a diver walking around on the seafloor. Also gotta be careful, 'cause there's quite a distance to swim, and you only have a small supply of breath potions. Just sneak behind him and find the hatch that I think is over here. Yes, it's there. Gotta be careful in here because there's a lot of metal and a lot of lights. Wait for this green to turn around and then knock him out. And we've already got 600 loot out of it, the 1,000 we need to complete the objective. Entry 30. This is the darkest, coldest place I have ever had the displeasure of working in. This being inside isn't so bad. There are plenty of machines to work with, and I find their noise to be rather soothing at night. Outside is far different. Even in a dive suit, the icy water seems to sap strength from your very soul. Except for the glow from the portals and an occasional flash from the beacon, the darkness of a night patrol seems to swallow all light. Builder, forgive my weakness, but I would rather risk discovery by those who would oppose us by putting more lights around the perimeter than to continue patrolling at night without them. I would hate to get too far out and get lost, even with the long period of dive time the breath potion solution in our tanks provide. Trying to find your way back with only the helmet light is not an experience I want to face. So, I'm carrying a compass with me from now on. Entry 31. Where is Serena? I haven't seen her all day. For a week now, she's been talking about that boat that passed nearby last month. No doubt it was a smuggler by the way they dumped out various crates and chests and fled the area when they caught sight of the Cetus Amicus surfacing. Those fools must have thought it was some sort of shore patrol boat or a sea creature. Since then, all Serena can talk about is going out to see what was dumped. I'm sure whatever it was isn't too far from the base. My best guess is that it's just a little ways beyond Outpost 2. Does it really matter, though? Priestess Hera has given orders not to be running around beyond Outpost 2, whose area while on patrol, and that suits me just fine. I know Serena isn't so easily deterred. I just hope she didn't decide to go on a treasure hunt while on solo patrol. If she did, she's probably dividing the loot with friend Martel at Outpost 2, who now, in order to buy his silence, but Priestess Hera always seems to find out what the smallest cog has been up to in this damp, rusty place. Friend Lowell. Control Center.
Hello?
Okay. That's the generator room down there, machinery space. But there's nothing down there. No reason to bother the guard either. This leads to the chapel, I believe. Yes, the chapel.
What's that?
I'm priest's quarters, or priestess. The mission is somewhat inconsistent. Or perhaps priestess is gender neutral now. Anyway.
My eardrums do tap much today.
The atmosphere in this installation has been filled with the builder's joy at the great task we have been entrusted to assist, but sadly I feel forced to take some strong action in order to maintain discipline. When friend Arbez made his secret report about the treasure he discovered just beyond Outpost 2, I made the decision to conceal this information, in order that all friends stationed here will not be distracted from their assignments. I also restrained aquatic patrols from going beyond Outpost 2. When our current task is completed, I will have friend Arbez discover the treasure on the arrival of the Cetus Amicus. Then, we can have it immediately taken to the Mechanist Council. Perhaps this wealth, along with assisting in the capture of the Island of Iron, will help me win an election to the Council. Unfortunately, one of our members is a little too inquisitive for her own good. No one knows that the loudspeakers in the station have been modified to function as microphones. Thus, I was able to hear a conversation by friend Serena about slipping off patrol and venturing beyond Outpost 2 with friend Lowell. Friend Lowell tried to dissuade her, but I suspect in vain. I spoke to friend Arbez, a man who can be trusted to get things done firmly without sentiment. Arbez has altered Serena's dive helmet to fail and flood after a specific period of time. If she decides to defy my orders and go beyond Outpost 2, when this happens, then she will be beyond help. Of course, I will have ruled this as an unfortunate accident and used this opportunity to stress obedience to authority. Long live the Order of the Gear. Priest Hera.
If 'twere rats, then I am not pleased, for they are wretched creatures.
So anyway, that diary explains what happened to Serena. We gave Hera a taste of her own medicine by knocking her out. I mean, you can kill her. There's no objective of stopping you from doing so, but you know, I don't feel like it, and I don't think anyone heard me, strangely enough, even though I fell on that metal door.
And he will be a leader of men, and he will be a wager of war. What? Oh!
Okay. My friends, I want to state my joy at the project our facility has been a part of. Many of you have wondered why we have been storing large numbers of combat machines in such an unusual place. The Mechanist Council has now authorized me to announce to you that they are part of the tactical reserve we are amassing for the coming invasion of the Island of Iron. For those of our great order who are not converts from the Hammers, you might not understand the great task at hand. Many years ago, the Hammerites possessed a large castle there, along with an industrial facility for the processing of the rich ore which is so common on the island. Certain members betrayed the old faith and engaged in dark rituals of sorcery, which triggered a massive outbreak undead that stalk the island to this day. Not long ago, a force of Hammers landed on the island, with a group of combat bots they'd acquired from various sources for their own ends. Yes, my friend, these men whose order is a relic of the past who condemn us as heretics have actually attempted to use our technology, thus proving the truths of our Lord Karis and the justness of progress. The hammers struck inland with their typical arrogance, only to be overwhelmed by the zombies. Our scouts have confirmed this by observations of remains near the castle. Where the hammers fail, the order of the gear will succeed. Even now our friends have constructed a small fort of steel, where they sally forth during the day to slay the wicked creatures. With the support of the machines of this facility, along with the resources of other secret locations, we shall eliminate the undead and take the island for ourselves. The conquest of the Island of Iron will bring great wealth, and its proximity to Markham's Isle strategic benefit to our order. I beseech you all, dear friends, to focus your efforts in support of this great project. In Kara's name, Priest Hera. We got the two primary objectives, but there are a few more things to see. Air processing. I don't think there's anything valuable in there, but it's another generator room. Servants' quarters.
What noise that? Something.
Oops.
Determine where he is. Keep searching. Find him now. Look around. Try and search under him. Carefully. Find him now. Carefully.
Thine evil unhide thee.
Carefully. Find the company. Learn the location of the intruder. Learn the location. Look carefully.
Go.
Find him.
Okay, okay, fine. That was annoying. Yeah, anyway, before I got so rudely interrupted, these are the servants' quarters. You can't see it, but I'm making air quotes here when I say quarters. These are really jails more than anything. Some extra loot with that crystal, and a note from Friend Arbez. I did see you in the control room, so I left you a note. Forgive me for my imprudence, friend, but what is going on around here? Don't you know the mess you left out there will attract sharks soon? I hope you have no plans to patrol that area. I don't. Friend Lowell. Some servant masks. And let's go see what Lowell's talking about when he says a mess. Yeah, the mess he talked about was these servants. They've all been drowned. What's the reason for that? Let's go find out. By investigating this Arbez. Mech garage and laboratory. Now
This looks like a dangerous area.
Not so much. While on paper these would be dangerous, these machines are inactive, I believe. Friend Arbez has allowed us to keep some of the combat bot furnaces burning in this area to help keep it warm at night. But remember, safety first. The circulation fans must be on at all times, and the dehumidification and /air purification system upstairs must be running at max capacity, always. Make sure someone is up there monitoring everything at all times. One slip in procedure will allow a buildup of toxic fumes, which will turn this whole facility into our own iron coffin. Remember, your daily maintenance for fighting machines. When it comes time to use them, we don't want our fellow friends to find their vital gears have corroded from neglect in seawater after they are transported topside for their use in the coming struggle. Friend Sparta. P.S. Has anyone seen Serena? She's overdue for her tasks on the daily work list. If anyone sees her, tell her to report to me immediately. I believe Arbez's lab is upstairs. That isn't him. It's just a guard. Builder's curses. This is the third servant to expire under modification down here. We just don't have the proper facilities to accomplish what Hera wants. Her idea of using servants to spearhead the assault is a good one. I think I can make everything work on 3 or 4 of the stronger ones, though. If we can get the wiring to the sunburst devices that will be attached to their backs set properly, we'll have a cheap way to make a first strike at the heart of the facility. The resulting holes punched in the fortress walls should be large enough to allow our combat bots inside, along with our brave friends, to accomplish the task our outdated Hammerite brethren could not. I'm sure the servants would object to being used this way, but they couldn't stop detonating themselves even if what was left of their pathetic minds was intact before we put the masks on them. Friend Arbez. Oh yes, I must remember when the Cetus Amicus arrives to tell the captain not to bring any more servants down here. If he does, I'll just have to drown them all like the last batch. Our cells are full already. What a charming man and he is. And we got the loot goal. There are a bunch of other things here, but we don't need them. So we've accomplished what we set out to do. Let's go back to the raft on the surface. Mission complete. Next time, Brawl in the Tombs. See you then.